All right, folks, let's talk about that Halo TV series. Now, this is going to be an overall encompassing review of the entirety of season one. However, I do want to start with the end of the season since I haven't been doing a episodic review because if you guys know me, follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/thepatmangaming. If you guys are wondering, I haven't been too keen on the show. Honestly, I enjoyed episode one actually a lot, and I haven't really felt that way since with any of the episodes until this final one. In my opinion, this final episode is the most Halo the show has ever felt, and I actually really thoroughly enjoyed it. Still have a few gripes with it, of course. Nothing is perfect. However, I did find a lot of enjoyment in that final episode. So we'll start with that. I'll give a spoiler warning. I'm going to give you my overall impressions of the season without going into spoilers. And then I will give a clear spoiler warning when I am going to talk about specific plot points. So keep that in mind, guys. And hopefully you guys enjoy this video. If you do, hit the like, subscribe, stay up to date on all the latest happenings in the world of Halo. I mainly cover Halo Infinite news on this channel. Major MCC news that comes out, I still cover as well. So I am your one-stop shop for everything Halo. So click that subscribe button. Help me get to 10K. Come on. You can't say that if you've watched this content before. We don't deserve to get to 10K, so we're trying. All right. All right, so like I said, starting with episode 9, really solid episode in my opinion, like an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10 for me. Couple of things that I'll get to in the spoilers that I really didn't like. One thing that I'll say that I really didn't enjoy, and I haven't enjoyed that this series does a lot, especially in the more action-heavy episodes, is the FPS, the first-person shooter kind of moments. It looks very cheesy in my opinion, like the CGI and stuff, and it doesn't look natural compared to the action that you're seeing from the third person or whatever it would be, the free camera that you would see when the action is going on otherwise. So I don't really like the overuse of that. It's kind of jarring to me. But that would be one of my main gripes with this episode. Otherwise, great action episode. You even hear some Halo music in the background when the action is going on. So overall, very enjoyable. And like I said, I'll get into the spoiler stuff. Some of those specific things I didn't like. Overall, the show honestly is bookended for me. Episode 1, episode 9. Those are the two I enjoyed the most. A lot of people actually really liked episode 5 because that's where the action kind of picked back up. The battle on Madrigal, or no, not on Madrigal, on Eridanus 2, where John was born. That battle, it didn't really cut it for me. Honestly, I felt like the action was really unbelievable in that episode. So I am not as high on that episode as a lot of other fans are. But overall, on this show, guys, I am not high on it at all. Now, there is no problem. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if you hate the show. There's no problem with you liking the show. You could be a Halo fan too, even if you don't play the games. If you enjoy this show and this is your entry into the series, I'm actually extremely happy. Welcome to Halo fandom. But to the hardcore fans, I don't think the show is made for them. I really don't. Not to say that there isn't enjoyment to be found by hardcore fans. There are definitely nuggets, but the overall direction of the writing of this show is extremely lackluster to me. And it's not the actors. I think Pablo Schreiber does a great job as Master Chief. I actually really like his acting. It's the writing. It is really cringe-worthy writing. Like, really bad. I'm not talking Game of Thrones, like, final couple seasons bad, because that was definitely a step down, but this is even, like, worse. This is, like, the way I would compare it is to, like, CW shows or Lifetime, like a Lifetime movie. It is very low budget. It is very fan fiction almost, like pushing the boundaries of fan fiction. Even I've read better fan fiction than some of the plot lines that go on in the show. A lot of the things that they decide to do in the show have me scratching my head, especially with certain characters. And I really just felt like this isn't Halo. Like, this wasn't worth the wait. We've waited so long for a Halo TV show or a Halo movie as a fan base, and this was not worth the wait, in my opinion. Now, can they fix it with season 2 to get better writing? Yeah, maybe. Um, Definitely the end of season 1 is a step in the right direction. And we all know this isn't canon, so the silver timeline, things could go differently, which I don't mind that either. A lot of fans are like, man, I wrote this show off as soon as they said it wasn't canon. That didn't bother me that much. Allows them to express and do stories that they, could defer from the games. I don't need to see a rehashing of the games. Would it be nice to see like a rehashing of the games told with more gore and more, story behind it than we get in a video game and kind of fleshed out characters? Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be good. But do I need it? No. I didn't need that for the Halo series. But what we got was not good in my opinion either. So overall, like I said, first episode was like an 8 for me. 8.5. I think I might have even given it as far as, and I think episode 9 is easily a 9 out of 10 for me. I actually thoroughly enjoyed, like I said, a lot of that episode. In my opinion, you might hate it, who knows? But obviously that's what we're here for, is for my opinion. And of course, I want to hear your opinions down in the comments section down below. But this show overall for me, it's got to get a mediocre rating. I before episode 9, I was leaning into like a 3 or 4 out of 10. With episode 9, I think I could rest at a 5 out of 10 for me. Below average, mediocre, not great. There's moments to enjoy in a lot of it, but it is pretty weak. I might even lean towards a 4, guys. It's pretty rough. 2 out of 9 episodes to enjoy is pretty rough. If it didn't have Halo in the name, I couldn't, or if I didn't cover Halo on my YouTube, I don't think I could have actually went through with watching this show. Like, I probably would have stopped watching it. Just because it has Halo in the name is really what kept me watching it, and to, of course, cover it for you guys and discuss, because that's content right there, So, yeah, I'm going to go with 4 or 5 out of 10. I guess I'll rest at a 5. I just don't think this show, I would say anything like a 6.5 to 7 is good. So it's below good. It's very meh. The show really, something that this show doesn't have that a lot of great shows, like your Better Call Sauls, your Breaking Bads, your Game of Thrones, your Mandalorians, a lot of things, Ozark. Those kind of shows really know how to end an episode to make you want to click and watch the next one, or anticipate watching the next one. This show doesn't have that at all. Even with episode 9, the way it ends, it's just like, okay, it's done. Like, there is no, not even cliffhangers, just a tease of something, or just seeing a storyline progress where you're like, man, I can't wait to find out what happens. None of that with this show, in my opinion. It's really missing stuff like that, and it's a shame. It's a shame, because the Halo IP is so damn broad. You could really do so much. It is like Star Wars, where the extended universe, you could tell stories within the Halo universe through so many different mediums in so many different ways. And it's a shame to see something like this happen. And I don't want Halo to fail. I don't want to see less Halo. More Halo is good, in my opinion. So if we can get the ship steered in the right direction, that would definitely help. But I don't know. Season 2 expectations are low for me. I don't know how you fix this show that drastically. Maybe we do see a step in the right direction and they kind of take the feedback, but I don't know if they will. We'll have to wait and see. And obviously it was a commercial success, or else they wouldn't have announced season 2 right away. Like, I think Paramount was pretty hype about the numbers that they were looking to get pulling in, and it seemed to do really well at first. I don't know how well it sustained its viewership throughout the season, but it seems to be a massive hit for Paramount. So that's cool. Good for them. But overall, yeah, I think that's where I'll end the overall impressions with being very spoiler free. Getting into the spoilers, we'll go right back again to episode 9. Some of the things that I really didn't like were I don't get why Spartans take their helmets off so damn much in this series. Honestly did not bother me at first. Episode 1, Chief pulls off his helmet. Okay. So that I actually kind of got why he did it. He was trying to relate to Quan, show her that he is not a machine. Much like Halo 4, it kind of had those parallels to Halo 4. He's not a machine, he's a human. So he was kind of trying to relate with her so that she could trust him and calm down. So I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't need that in episode 1, but I got why he did it. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. They do it so damn much in this show. Like during battles and stuff, like it just doesn't make sense. Like the most inopportune times Spartans take their helmets off, and Kai does it in episode 9 when she's going to confront Halsey because John tells the Spartans, hey, she's kidnapped us, she's wiped our memories, we've been lied to this whole time. She goes to ask Halsey, like, what's her real name? And she takes her helmet off. What's my name? Tell me about myself. And she gets hit in the back of the head. That's what you get for taking your freaking helmet off. Like, just to leave your head that exposed. She did it earlier in the series, too, where she got punched by Vanek and Riz in when Halsey was, like, turning the Spartans against each other or whatever. So, that was definitely, something I had a gripe with. And the Dr. Halsey storyline, I actually liked a lot of it. The way she kind of deceived everybody. It did a flash clone of herself to kind of escape. Halsey's always one step ahead. She's extremely smart. She's not going to give up that easily. And now she's an enemy of the UNSC, of course. And, there's a lot of cool things to like. Especially, like I said, that Halo music in episode 9 was really dope. Hearing the da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, when the action is going on. I thought was really cool. And revealing that the Covenant, I kind of like that they are finally like kind of disregarding Mackie, and the Covenant had the plans to kill her all along. Like, yeah, we're not going to trust a filthy human. So I always thought it was weird that they took a human in, but obviously they needed her for the artifacts. And, we don't get to see the fall of Reach or anything like that. We don't get to see them finding the Halo ring. So none of that appears in this episode. So I guess that kind of stuff is coming in Halo or in season 2. And it's a shame in my opinion. Like I could have definitely, this was supposed to be originally 10 episodes this season. I could have definitely used another episode just to see the fall of Reach. Would have been cool. Like leading up to that, I think would have been cool. I didn't need, at least they showed us some of the Halo ring. I think that was cool, like some of the where they touch the artifacts and Mackie and John get kind of even though it's weird. I think it was just cool to see the Halo ring and be on it and show its majesty and its awe. Now going throughout the series, episode 1, like I said, I actually thoroughly enjoyed. I thought it was pretty cool. Cool introduction to the Spartans and how the Spartans are feared by the insurrectionists on Madrigal. And a lot of people hated Quan. I wasn't one of them. Honestly, I never felt like Quan was that bad of a character. Yes, they focused on her a little bit too much in the show, but I got why she acted so stupid, basically. I mean, she just lost her father, her everything, her only real family. And she was ripped away from her home, and she just witnessed a bunch of her friends and family murdered by the Covenant. And she doesn't like the UNSC, so she doesn't trust them. So she's going to make rash and immature decisions. She's young, too. And that's what young people do. They make rash and immature decisions, especially when you're emotional. So I never had a big problem with Quan. I really like Soren's character. I thought he was really interesting. Bokeem Woodbine, I think is the actor's name. I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry. I should have this pulled up, be more professional about it. But I think he does a really good job with Soren. And like I said, I really do enjoy the Spartans in this. I do enjoy the acting by Pablo. I think he's actually a really good Master Chief. I think he looks the part. I think he looks like Master Chief from the things we've seen from the lore, the extended universe, and like the comics and stuff, and the books, and even the little glimpse of him that we got at the legendary ending of Halo 4. I could totally see Pablo being the Master Chief. People make the thing like, yeah, he should be pale, more pale, maybe have some more battle scars on his face, or to show that he's been through battles and through the helmet and stuff, because obviously the helmet is still fragile. It could get crushed, which it does in episode 9. He gets his ass whooped in episode 9. It was really cool to see. And the Covenant action in episode 9 was really good to see. Brutes really being the forefront of it, like whooping on Chief, was really, really dope to see. And we don't know what that brute is. I have to go back and watch it again. I know he like identifies, I think it says Jiralhi, or however he pronounced the brute's species name. I don't think it says because it says target identified Jiralhi. I don't think it says actual name of the brute or anything. We don't know if it could be Tartarus, it could be Atriox, a lot of fan theories going out there. And we don't see the Arbiter, which kind of sucks. I think Arbiter would have definitely got me hyped, because Arbiter is my favorite character in Halo. I always thought he was the more personified character, had way more human characteristics in his story than Chief ever did. That's why I love Halo 2 so much. And probably why Halo 4 is one of my favorite stories in the Halo universe as far as the games. Not favorite gameplay wise, but story wise, Halo 4 is really strong in my opinion, because I love the personification of Chief, and we really never got that in the series before. So seeing the more human side of Chief is always a welcome plus in my opinion. But going through the series, man, yes, Chief has sex. It's still, and honestly, if Chief had sex with I'll say it. If you could have Chief have sex, sure, that could be your thing. I know it's against lore stuff. They're supposed to be celibate and not really have the sexual drive. Most Spartans do, especially John. But this isn't lore. This is Silver Timeline. But if he would have banged Kai or something, that would have been more believable to me, because him and Kai have a relationship. She cares for him, obviously. She follows in his footsteps, removes her suppressant chip for her emotional suppressant chip, or pellet, and that would have been more believable to me, because they fight together, they've been together. But literally having sex with a prisoner of war in her jail cell, and just meeting McKee. And yes, I know they're supposed to be tied together in a special way, since they're both chosen ones, or they're both blessed ones, or whatever, and they can both touch the artifact and have it react. It wasn't enough to be oh yeah, they should fuck. No. What, why? It was so unnecessary, so forced, and it just why did you need that scene? Why was that there? It could have been anything else. I actually really enjoyed the Captain Keyes. I thought the actor who played him did a really good job, especially later. He got more screen time as the season went on. I thought he was good, and I thought Halsey was good. Cortana, some weird stuff with her, for the most part, of course. With Jen Taylor returning as the voice of Cortana was always good. It's always comforting to hear her voice. She's the perfect Cortana voice. But to see Cortana spying on Chief and Mackie in the sex scene, and just watching, weird, dude. Just weird. That whole sex stuff was just weird and forced, and so many tropes with this show were followed. And then, you get to the infamous Quan episode, which, yeah, I would never have focused a whole episode on Quan. Even though I didn't mind her, or didn't hate her as much as everybody else does. A whole episode on her was unnecessary. That's where you lost a lot of people in the show, especially coming off a lot of people enjoyed the action of episode 5. I think it was episode 6. That was 6 or 7. That was the Quan episode. And just didn't do it for me. The Soren parts were really cool, but you didn't need to do a whole episode. And that episode, more than any episode, I think, in the whole series or whole season 1, did not feel like Halo. Like if I didn't know that was Halo going into it, and didn't see the Soren fighting because he's, part Spartan or whatever, I would have never guessed it was the Halo TV show. There was just some weird, like the weird tribal people in the desert and the well and like the Quan's ties to this and then eventually going to be the Halo ring. So Quan's going to play a major role in the series, obviously going forward. But it was all just so damn weird, and I just was not invested. Character-wise, emotionally invested in anybody, not really. I mean, I guess Chief, but that's, I think, just because it's the Master Chief. Like, yeah, of course I feel emotionally invested for him and want to know more about his character because it's Chief. But the Chief that they give us in this show, and it's not Pablo's fault. No, I think, like I said, I think Pablo actually is a really, really good job of portraying Chief and does his best with the script that he's given. But the script is the problem. And a lot of the rash decisions that just, I don't see Chief act like that. Like about to kill Halsey, locking her in that room to test Cortana and stuff, like just when he's about to punch a hole in Halsey's face and then, get shut down, like just some weird acts from Chief. But overall, the CGI too, I thought was kind of cheesy at points. I actually would have liked to see hunters more. The hunters were not shown enough. It would have been cool to see some hunters. Yeah, we get to see the worms that make up the hunters, but we didn't get to really see hunters in action. I think that would have been cool. It was cool to see honor guards and stuff in the final episode of season 1, but no mention of the flood or anything either, of course. Since we're not on the Halo ring, we don't really know about the flood yet, or the Forerunners. Obviously the mystery of the artifacts and the Forerunners is still there. But man, overall, man, just meh is my overall opinions on the show. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like I said, I know this one kind of ran a little bit long, but hopefully you guys stuck around to the end and heard my opinions. I'd like to know your opinions, and make sure you guys subscribe and like, because it does help out my channel greatly. Stay tuned for some Halo Infinite news we should be getting this week, and hope to catch you on either previous video mine or future video mine. Till that time comes, I'm your boy Pat, man, and I'm out.